started seeing each other, but still, I'm not going. Me and Miss Patty started going to church. Then when we got married, her and Dee would get up, go say, I'm going. She'd tell me, I'm going to town. Me and Dee's going to Dairy Queen. I said, okay. They would come back, and I said, come here, boy. I said, let me smell your breath. What you been doing? I smelled it. You been to the Dairy Queen. He said, what? How'd you? But listen, that was such beautiful, beautiful times. It was hard, but God helped me through it. And because he's grown now, and he gave me, let me say this too. I always said this: tough times don't last. Tough people do. And you're gonna see hard times. But if you got God in your life and let him lead you, I'm not perfect. I'll be the first to tell you, I mess up all the time. But he'll see you through it. And I always tell people, when I try to talk to people that's hurting, I love to talk to people that's hurting because I know what it is to hurt. And I tell them, tomorrow will be a better day. And it will. Maybe 2 or 3 tomorrow, maybe a bunch of tomorrow. But just remember, there's light at the end of the tunnel. And you're not too old for that. That happens to all of us. I'm going through things. You're going through things right now. The Lord just couldn't make it without him. It don't want to make it without him. Just one more thing. Let me think of it that I wanted to say. I'm sorry, I forgot what it was. Thank y'all very much.
Love you, buddy. It takes a lot to be a mom and a dad and raise a baby, and he did it. And what an incredible story. And don't let him fool you. He knows how to cook too. Hey. You talk about chicken and rice. He's got the best chicken and rice I've ever had. And so he's just an all-around, just an amazing man. And I'm so glad he sent Patty your way. Amen. Our church is blessed to have both of you. Amen. Well, we're going to put the icing on the cake with JT. Most of y'all know JT, but he's coming, and he's going to share a little bit about his story. And I don't know what he's going to say, but I know it's going to be good. I know he loves the Lord, and he's got a great heart. He has an incredible heart, and he's anointed. And anyway, here you go, buddy.
I appreciate it. All righty. Let's open this up real quick. So I figured, since y'all got to put up with me squeaking on a mic every Sunday, I'd let you know who I am first. First and foremost, introduce myself. I've got a couple of stories I could share, and it took me a long time to get to that point, because like you had mentioned before we started, I grew up thinking that I didn't have a testimony, that I didn't have anything worth sharing to anybody. I didn't have anything that would help anyone. And hearing other people's testimonies, especially what we've been doing here recently, it's been so encouraging to me. Hearing what everybody else has gone through and the things that God has done in your lives is very encouraging to me. Even if I didn't go through that thing specifically, it's awesome to see how God works in other people's lives. So, for me, I'll kind of hit my journey to salvation. So I grew up, like I said, thinking I didn't have a testimony. because I didn't think what I had been through was worthy of sharing. I grew up with a large family. I had both of my parents in the household. It was a loving household. I had a bunch of cousins. I had 3 grandparents. I had my aunts and my uncles around. We would always hang out. We had big family get-togethers. And my mom is the reason that we stayed in church. She was always very diligent in keeping us in church every Sunday, whether she was dragging us out of the bed, kicking and screaming, hollering at us, "Hurry up and get your clothes on, let's go, we're going to be late." I heard that a couple times. So, and my whole family used to be very heavily involved in church. I hear stories from my grandparents all the time about how, my dad, he used to work the sound in some churches that they used to go to, and how, my grandfather, he had seen a move of God so strong that he could see waves going through the sanctuary. God's power was moving so tangibly, things that I hope one day to see. But at some point, and I don't know if this was right before I came into the picture or a little bit after, something had happened at that church, and it caused some serious hurt in my family, to the point where even now my dad refuses to step inside of a church. He doesn't trust pastors. He still believes in God, but that's something that he's held on to for this long. Despite that, though, I can honestly say that God has always been there. He's always been in my life, in one way or another. Oftentimes he's kind of forced himself into my life. So as a kid, growing up, I was incredibly introverted. I was incredibly isolated, closed in, but I had a wild imagination, right? So, and I loved art, and that was my escape. That's how I got away. I wanted desperately to be accepted and to be seen and to have friendships and things like that, but I didn't know how. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't know how to do it. I would see other people getting along and having fun with one another, but it was exhausting to me. I couldn't be around people for that long. But I desperately craved that. And I don't remember much in the way of details about my childhood, but I do know that growing up, I dealt with a lot of bullying from both peers and teachers, and that also extended into some of the churches that we had gone to. And so having to deal with all of that, I kind of closed myself off even more, because I didn't know how to deal with that. Instead of facing that, I would often escape into my own little world and try to get away from it. So because of that, I became resentful and hateful. I became incredibly hateful. And my perception of relationships with people became twisted. And so instead of engaging with somebody like I would now, openly and honestly, and this is who I am, I felt like I had to lie and manipulate to survive. I didn't know how to deal with people. And through all of that, dealing with all that, trying to figure all of that out, I knew something was missing, and I still wanted to feel accepted and feel wanted. But I didn't know what I was looking for. I didn't know what that was like. Hindsight, now I can look back at that and I can see that I knew deep down in my spirit that God was missing in my life. I didn't know what that was, though. I didn't have a frame of reference for that. All I knew was that something was missing and it desperately needed to be filled. And so with that in mind, fast forward a little bit, and about at the age of 9, that was the first time that I had been introduced to pornography. And that was, I still remember, and he'd kind of made it his evening tradition to come back and mess with me and bug me. And so he decided that day that was going to be when he really messed me up. And so at the age of 9, I was exposed to that. And my mom and dad,